As an IT admin, your world has never been more complex. You have so many different types of devices that you need to support in your environment, so many different types of applications, and each of those has a different approach to management. Add to that the various types of end users that you have in your environment. You have different departments, you have contractors, you have contingent staff, and they need access to corporate resources. So your challenge is, how do I enable all of this access and secure my environment while also making it simple for the end user? Because as you know, if an end user doesn't think something is simple, they're just not going to use it. And that's really where Workspace ONE comes in. Workspace ONE is a digital workspace platform, and it's designed to bring together unified endpoint management, application management, and access management into a single platform that makes delivering applications securely to your end users with consumer-level simplicity. Let me show you how we do that. Here I am in the Workspace ONE console, and you'll notice that here in the console I have a single location to manage endpoints, identities, and applications in my environment. Now you'll notice I have a fictitious organization, ThinkTrax. They're a retail organization that sell gadgets all across the globe. They have different types of end users. So as an IT admin, you know that you need to manage various levels of access for all of your different types of end users in your organization. The first group that we're going to think about is their retail store employees. Are going to be primarily using their personal devices. They don't need a lot of apps, just a time card application and access to email. So let's take a look at how we would enable that type of access for their retail store employees. So first, I'm going to go into the applications section of Workspace ONE, and you'll notice that here I have a time card application that I've already set up in my environment. So the first step is I want to deploy or provision this application to my retail store employees. So I'm going to select the application and click on Assign. And from here, I can now select my retail store employees. Now, one of the great things with Workspace ONE, it's completely integrated with your Active Directory environment. So there's no need to recreate groups of users in your environment. I have my Active Directory group for retail store employees. I'm going to click on Add, and I'm now going to publish this application to all of those end users. Now, they also need email access. Because they're primarily my retail store employees, I'm not concerned that they're going to be receiving a lot of sensitive email. Having said that, I do want to add an additional layer of security when they do access their email. So you'll notice that if I go to Getting Started, Workspace ONE, that I'm presented with a variety of wizards that really make it easy to enable a variety of different things in my environment. So you'll notice here at the bottom I have a section that's called Office 365 Applications. Let me go ahead and edit that. I've already deployed a variety of these applications in my environment. Since I don't know what endpoint they're going to be using, whether it's Apple device or whether it's an Android device, I want to make sure that I select all of the applications that they need to do their job. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Next here. So you'll notice that here I have the power of managing data protection policies for my Office 365 applications. Now, this is super important because the latest data actually shows that a lot of data leakage that happens in enterprise organizations is often unintentional or accidental. So we want to make sure that we have policies in place so that we can protect our corporate resources. So here you notice all of the various different types of policies that I've set for my Office 365 applications. So you notice that I'm able to prevent Save As. This prevents end users from grabbing documents that are in their Office 365 applications and perhaps saving them to a personal document repository. So I have this ability built right into the Workspace ONE console. Now, similar to the time card application, I'm now going to deploy Outlook to my retail store employees. So in this case, Outlook is a public application. I'm going to select it and assign it. So Outlook has now been deployed to my retail store employees. But as I mentioned earlier, I want to make sure that they have an additional layer of security when they access Outlook. So you'll notice that here, right within the Workspace ONE console, I have access to access policies. And what I'm now going to do is that I'm going to require my retail store employees, when they log into Outlook, they're also going to be asked to use a second factor of authentication, which is VMware Verify, our mobile push two-factor authentication technology built right into Workspace ONE. Let's go ahead and do that. I select my Office policy, which I've already have deployed, and I'm going to edit that. I'm going to create a new policy, assign it to my retail store employees, and for authentication method, you're going to notice that Workspace ONE has really powerful abilities to deploy a variety of different authentication methodologies for your environment. So specifically for their iOS devices, you're going to notice that I'm going to allow them to use mobile single sign-on if they enroll their device in management. Having said that, we know that these retail store employees are going to primarily be using personal devices and will not enroll under management. So if that does not work, I'm going to allow them to use their password, and I'm going to add a second form of authentication, which is VMware Verify. Go ahead and click on Save. What this means is that when an end user goes into Outlook, that's part of the retail store employees Active Directory group, and goes in to sign into Outlook, they're also going to be asked for a second factor of authentication. So you can see how with Workspace ONE, I'm able to really provide that additional layer of security, even for devices that are not managed. Now that we've done all of that, let's go and take a look at what the end user experience would be for one of our retail store employees. So here I am, I'm a retail store employee on my personal iPad, and you'll notice that here I have the Workspace ONE application that I've already installed on my device using my Active Directory credentials. I have a single username and password that I get in to access all of the different types of applications that IT has allowed me to have access to. And what's great is with Workspace ONE, I have access to web applications, internal mobile applications, variety of different types of applications from one single location. Now you'll notice that the applications that I've just deployed for my retail store employees are located right here on my device. I have the time card application that I've recently deployed, and I also have Microsoft Outlook. So I'm going to go ahead and deploy both of these applications to this device. And that's going to start installing in the background. Now remember, that's an internally developed mobile application. So right from within the Workspace ONE app, I have access to that application. So now if I go to the home screen on my device, you'll notice that I have the time card application, which was an internally developed app that I've deployed to my retail store employees. And I now have Outlook that's been deployed on the device, which is an application that's in the public Apple Store. Let's go ahead and launch Outlook. Since this is the first time I'm launching Outlook, I'm going to log in with my credentials. And you'll notice here I get a notice that says I have to use VMware Verify for that second layer of authentication. And you'll notice that I'm going to get a prompt on my phone to authenticate with VMware Verify. So I go ahead, and you notice I have VMware Verify on my phone, and I see the login request. And if I click on Approve, you'll now notice that I'm logged in to Outlook, and I can now access my email. So we've made it really, really easy for the end user to be able to access their email from any device, anywhere. And what's really great is that this didn't require instructions to be able to get Workspace ONE configured on their device, get email, and get their time card application. We've made it really easy, really intuitive for these retail store employees to get up and running on their device. For the marketing department, I want to make sure that I provide an even greater level of security of not only the applications that they access, but also their endpoints. So let me show you how we do that. The first thing is I need to enable a few different applications for my marketing department. Similar to my retail store employees, I'm going to enable access to Outlook. I'm going to go ahead and assign Outlook access for my marketing department. Now the difference is for my marketing department, I'm actually going to require them to enroll in management on their particular device before accessing Outlook. So I'm going to enable the requirement for management, and I'm now all set with Outlook. Now I'm also going to enable access to Salesforce ONE for my marketing department. So I've already configured the application here in Workspace ONE. I'm going to select it and assign it. Now, similar to Outlook, I want to make sure that if someone decides in the marketing department to get access to Salesforce ONE, that they enroll in management as well. And the reason for that is because we know that many of these applications cache data on these mobile devices. So we want to make sure that those devices are secure. So I'm also going to click Enable, Enrolling in Management, and now I can assign this to my marketing department. Now at ThinkTrax, we allow our employees to choose from either a Windows 10 device or a Mac. It's up to them which one they would like to use, personal preference. Having said that, we want to make sure that any of those devices is also secure when they access corporate resources. So if I go to the Devices section of Workspace ONE, you'll notice that I can create various profiles for the various platforms that are in use in the market today. So if I go ahead and click on Add, you'll notice that I'm able to create profiles from mobile operating systems or desktops and laptops that I may have in my environment. That covers Windows, Android, Mac, etc. It's all covered with Workspace ONE. And when I do that, you'll notice, for example, for Macs, all of the various types of policies that I can create to make sure that my environment is protected and that end users get just a really great experience. Having said that, I've already created a variety of different policies. I've created policies for Windows 10, and I've created policies for Macs in my environment. You notice that for Windows 10, one of the policies that I've created is the fact that they need to have a passcode configured on their device. This enables me to make sure that my environment is secure. Having said that, the great thing about these profiles is that I'm not only able to apply security settings for my end users on their particular devices, but I can also give them a great experience. So for example, I can deploy Wi-Fi configurations to my end users, VPN configurations. This means that when they get enrolled in management, all of those settings come down to their device, enabling them to get up and running very quickly. So now that I've configured access for my marketing department, let's see how that all works using various different types of devices as they get access to corporate resources. Now, here I have a brand new iPhone with the Workspace ONE app already installed. Now you'll notice that my marketing department is now provided access to the applications that we've just provisioned. Now here I have the Outlook app and the Salesforce ONE app. And you'll notice that they each have a small star next to the download button. That means that these applications will require enrollment in management. So let's go ahead and bring down the Microsoft Outlook application. And you'll notice that the experience for my marketing department is different than that of retail store employees. Now, why is that? Because we're requiring them to enroll in management, but we're making it really easy. You notice that right when I installed the Outlook app, it asked them to enable Workspace Services, which is the profile that's used to manage the APIs that Apple has on this device. Just makes it really easy for us to manage this device. So I'm going to head and enable Workspace Services, and it's going to seamlessly walk me through a workflow to install management on this particular device. Let's go ahead and do that. I've clicked on Enable Workspace Services, and just with a few buttons, I'm just going to install the profile on my device. So now that the profile is installed on my device, it'll now allow me to download those applications. It'll continue with the installation of Outlook here. I'm going to go ahead and click on Install. And Outlook will now be installed on my device. Now, if you remember, at the beginning of this demo, we use Workspace ONE hooking into the Microsoft Graph APIs in order to apply data leakage protection policies to all of the Office 365 applications. So in this case, I have an email that I've received that says ThinkTrax sales performance. And it has some confidential data that's included in this particular PDF. Now, if I go ahead and click the Save button, you'll notice that this particular employee has configured a personal document repository on his device, which is Dropbox. Now, if he tries to go ahead and click on Dropbox, according to the data leakage protection policies that I've configured in Workspace ONE, it actually tells him that IT policy doesn't allow him to save the file to his personal document repository. So here we've really seen how with Workspace ONE, we're not only enrolling this device in management using Apple's APIs and managing the device and making sure that it's secure, but we're also applying data leakage protection policies to his applications. So we have a security at multiple levels that is being applied to this particular end user's experience. Now let's take a look at experiences when they use their Windows 10 device. Now you'll notice that they've already enrolled this Windows 10 device under management. They also have access to the Workspace ONE app and all of the associated applications that have been made available for them. In addition, one of the great things with Workspace ONE managing Windows 10 endpoints is we're not only able to secure the device, but we've also made it just really nice and easy for the end user to get up and running. So that even means installing a VPN profile on that device. When they're away from the network, they can get connected very, very easily. So in this demo, we've really given you a snapshot of the power of Workspace ONE. We've taken unified endpoint management, application management, and access management and put it together into a single digital workspace platform. That digital workspace platform allows you to control and secure access to your environment. But we've also made it so that end users have a great experience with technologies such as mobile single sign-on, giving them access to all of the applications and resources that they need on any type of device. So hopefully you've come away really getting a snapshot of what Workspace ONE can provide for you and your organization. I thank you for your time. I hope you really enjoyed this demo. I encourage you, take the next step in your evaluation. Contact us to see how you could get started with your free evaluation of VMware Workspace ONE.